On your marks, get set, go. Here we are, 1.5, number 2, evaluate. Here we're going to substitute some values in for t and s, it looks like. So for t, we're going to put in a -2. So everywhere we see a t, we're going to put a little -2 in there. Everywhere we see an s, we're going to put a little -3 in there, okay? When I substitute, I want to use parentheses. I just want to make sure I don't make any silly mistakes. So here we got 4 times t, which is -2. All right, minus 3 times s is -3. That's going to be squared. So -3 squared. Okay, there is a little bit of a trick here. Is if you do this in a calculator and you put -3 squared in your calculator and you don't put it in parentheses, it's probably going to give you a -9. But what you really want is -3 times -3, which is +9. So be careful on putting that stuff in the calculator. Here's what happens too: is if you put -3 squared in the calculator, it's going to follow order of operations, and it's going to square it, and then it's going to multiply it by -1. So it's like squares it to get 9. And then it multiplies it by -1 to get -9. But you wanted +9 there. So be careful on that. All right, so then that's -3 squared plus, careful there, plus s cubed, which is going to be plus -3 cubed. So plus -3 cubed. All right, we follow our fun little order of operations. We cube and square stuff. So we got -3 cubed, that's going to be plus -27 there. This is going to be minus 3 times 9 there, and then this is going to be 4 times -2, which is of course -8. All right, so we have -8 minus 3 times 9 is 27. So I'll get a different color here. We'll go -8 minus 27 plus -27. Okay, well that looks like a whole bunch of adding negatives. -8 minus 27 is what? -35, and -35 minus 27 is going to be, I believe, -62. Looks like that would be -62. All right, another thing we did in this section was we simplified and basically combine like terms when we could. So we got some distributive property here. Looks like we're going to have 6x squared plus distribute the 3x to 4y. That's going to be plus 12xy minus, now this could be a little tricky here, minus, let's see, 2x times 7. That's going to be 14x, right? And then that's going to be minus 2x minus y is going to be there plus 2xy. Okay, a little tricky because you got to think -2x times both of those, and then we get the -2x times a -y, which gives me a plus 2xy. And there I can combine those like terms right there. So I have 6x squared plus 14xy. And you might have this in a little different order, I guess, and then minus 14x. And then some of you did a great job too and factored out a factor of 2 and a factor of x. And so you had 2x, kudos to your math teacher last year or whatever. 2x, and that would be 3x plus 7y minus 7. So that would also be acceptable. Okay. Next, we talked about using the exponent properties in respect to scientific notation. So what we did here is we took 3.2 times 4.9, and we got 15.68. Something around there. 15.68 times 10 to the, now 10 to the 8th times 10 to the 6th is a total of 10 to the, add those exponents, 14. All right, well that's not an acceptable scientific notation number because this number here is too big, so we got to move that decimal 1 to the left. So really what we need is 1.568 times 10 to the, now we got to modify this because we can't just change the number. So we actually decreased that by a multiple of 10. So we divided that by a multiple of 10. So we made that smaller, so we got to make this bigger right there. 1 bigger. So if we move basically this 1 to the left, we got to move this 1 to the right. All right, same concept over here with the dividing. we divided these two numbers in scientific notation, and we got something like 0.39 times 10 to the, now let's look at this, 9 minus 16 would be negative 7. Okay, but 0.39, that's not an acceptable scientific notation number. We got to move that decimal over there. It's got to be a number between 1 and 10. Okay, so that would be then 3.9 times, now if I move that one to the right, I got to move that one to the left, and to the left in math is more negative. So that would be times 10 to the negative 8. All right, moving right along, we got some more practice down here with exponent properties. Okay, let's see if I can't get that a little taller up there. All right, so we got some more exponent properties here. In this case, we have some sort of a fractional expression, all to the second power. So what we're going to do there is we're going to take everything and square it. But can I simplify anything first? Let me see here. Ooh, there's a j to the negative fourth over, or no, that's not, that's just the dot on the j. J to the fourth over j to the seventh. So before I square everything, let's clean that up a little bit. Let's make that 5k over 2, and then I have more j's in the bottom. How many more? 3 more. So that's a horrible looking 3 right there. That's a horrible looking 3. All right, try that again. Holy cow, that was funny. There we go. J to the third. And now all that's squared. So basically just square everything in there. Don't forget to square the 5. Okay? So what's that going to look like? That's going to look like 5 squared k squared over 2 squared j to the third squared, which is j to the 6th. Power to a power you multiply. Clean that up a bit. We have 25 k squared over 4 j to the 6th. Final answer. All right, next problem, number 6. We have a power, well, some sort of expression multiplied by another expression. One student I was working with, I put those parentheses in there like that, and that made sense to them because they thought, well, do I have to distribute that or something? No, not really. You're just multiplying it. Okay, so you're just multiplying this stuff right here times that stuff right there. Okay, so go ahead, look at those coefficients. You got 5 times negative 3, so that's going to be a negative 15. X to the 6th times x squared, that's x to the 8th. Y to the 3rd times y to the negative 5th is y to the negative 2nd if you add those. All right, is that my final answer? I hope not. Why not? Because you can't have these negative exponents in your answer. Okay, so to clean that up, you're going to put that down in the denominator. Your final answer is going to be negative 15x to the 8th all over y to the 2nd. So if you move that down in the denominator, then that becomes positivo. All right, last one, number 7. We have this whole thing. We got a bunch of negative exponents going on here. Nothing really to clean up inside of the parentheses. I can't really do anything there, except for I guess I could move that x to the negative 2nd down. But let's see what happens when I take this power to everything in there. So here we go. We have 3 to the negative 3rd power. X to the negative 2nd to the negative 3rd. When you multiply those, you get negative 2 times negative 3, which is 6. And z to the 3rd times z to the negative 3rd. So 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. Okay, that stuff is really all over 1. And so what happens is anything that has a negative exponent is going to be moving down and changing to positive, which are those two items right there. So we are going to have in our numerator x to the 6 as the only thing, so lonely up there. And in the denominator we'll have 3 times 3 times 3, which is 27, z to the positive 9. Okay, so there we go. That's the last checkpoint for chapter 5 for this year. Hopefully that helped out.